Hello and welcome back to 4FS Gaming. Buckle up and get ready, because much like my Mosin vs Lebel video from a few weeks ago, this guide is full of analytics and data as we dive into the question, why is the Sparks so good? Remember to also check out our Twitch channel where we like to stream some Hunt live, that's in the description below. The Sparks LRR is one of the most iconic weapons in Hunt Showdown. It has been popular from the very beginning and for very good reason. Before we jump into the deep stuff, let's go over the basics for any newer viewers. The Sparks is a long ammo rifle that unlocks at rank 26. It's rather cheap at only $130 and it is a large slot weapon. The Sparks has very high damage for a rifle, eclipsed only by the Nitro Express. It deals 149 damage to the chest as long as the target is within 40 meters. Hunters have 150 HP. This weapon is so renowned because it will put the enemy on 1 HP if you hit them in the chest. This means that any damage at all, the slightest tickle, will take them down. Conversely, if you see or hear the enemy take damage, then you know that a shot to the chest at this range will be lethal. The limiting factor is that the Sparks only has one shot in the chamber before you have to spend 4 seconds reloading. This means that every shot counts. The Sparks also has a muzzle velocity of 533 meters per second, which isn't bad, but it certainly isn't up there with the Lebel or Mosin. It comes with 20 shots in reserve, and seeing as though it takes 4 seconds to reload after every shot, this ammo is more than enough. So here's the thing, surely the Mosin is better, right? They both do high damage, use long ammo, and can headshot anything out to 250 meters, but the Mosin gets 5 shots before it has to reload, meaning it can follow up with a decent rate of fire. Now I'm not here to say the Mosin isn't the premier rifle in Hunt, but what I found while investigating the Sparks shows why so many players opt to use this single shot weapon instead of high-end tier 3 weapons. The Sparks is indeed very, very good, and here's why. So let's say you hit an enemy with the Sparks. Now they're on low health because this weapon is extremely strong, but they're not dead. Well, you could take cover and spend 4 seconds to reload, but in that time any decent opposition has already taken cover, healed, or killed you before you can shoot them again. So instead, you quick swap to your sidearm and finish them off almost instantly. Now this is the way to use the Sparks, and I know people don't like being told how to play the game, but if you're not using a pistol secondary with the Sparks, you're kind of doing it wrong and playing at a disadvantage. This is not the weapon that you want to run with a sawn-off shotgun or a melee weapon. It just does not synergize well at all. If there is a meta in Hunt, that would be long ammo quick swapping. Switching to a secondary is far faster than reloading, or even cycling the bolt on a Mosin or Carabiner. Top tier players are constantly switching to their sidearms to finish off targets. This essentially eliminates the biggest downside of the Sparks, which is the fire rate. You still have to reload eventually, but as long as you don't miss your shots, it's a really reliable way to kill. Okay, so I promised data, so let's have a look. Here is the range curve for the Sparks. We can see that it holds damage quite well over a long distance. Let's strip off that headshot damage because this will always kill until 250 meters. An interesting point is that the Sparks will deal over 50 damage to the chest out to that 250 meter mark. This is important because a hit will always force your enemy to heal. They can never regenerate more than 50 HP naturally, so they'll have to start using up their resources. But how does it stack up to the Mosin and Martini Henry? These are two guns that I'm going to be using for comparison today, as the Martini is very similar to the Sparks, being another single shot weapon, and the Mosin is the top tier high performance rifle, usually considered Hunt's premier killing machine, and if you disagree and think it's the Lebel, go and watch some of my previous videos, I've put that one to bed. The curves are very similar. An important pattern to notice is that as range increases, the differences between base damage become less and less noticeable. This means that ironically, you get the most benefit out of the Sparks compared to the Mosin when you use it at closer ranges. Just don't miss because you don't have as much follow-up. You can also quick swap with a Mosin, so is that extra damage on the Sparks really enough to make a difference? For the following data, I have assumed a Caldwell conversion uppercut is being used as the secondary weapon that you're going to quick swap to. This is the most common choice as it has the highest damage for a sidearm, a really fast ready speed, it can penetrate walls easily, and it also provides extra long ammo for your reserves. We're also going to discount using the Mosin to follow up itself for this comparison, and assume all weapons are quick swapping, as this is much faster than cycling the bolt. This graph shows at what range quick swap combos with the uppercut will kill, separated by hit locations. Consistently, the Sparks allows for longer range for follow-up shots. In general terms, the Sparks uppercut combo is lethal to around 10 meters further away than the Mosin uppercut combo, with the Martini falling somewhere in between. There are a few combinations of hit locations where the Mosin really falls behind, but it's generally not too bad. The exception is if you hit the leg, and then you follow up with another leg shot from the uppercut. In this case, only the sparks will kill. This means that within 22 meters, any combination of hits from the sparks uppercut will be lethal, making it super reliable. Now this can't be said for any other rifle. So does this matter at all? Does a few more meters of quick swap range actually make the sparks great? Well, it's all about optimization. Much of the time, it probably won't come into play, but there will be moments where the target keeps walking through a Mosin and uppercut combo, but they would have died to a sparks. The other reason people love the sparks is due to how brutal it is to wounded enemies who have lost health bars to fire or been downed. With the changes to fire in 1.4, this is perhaps more important than ever. This graph compares our 3 weapons and looks at what range they can kill an enemy on 125 HP, that's with one small bar missing, on a chest shot. Note that anything other than a chest or headshot will knock down a target at 125 HP, even with the sparks' high damage. Again, the sparks has a significant advantage over the Mosin in excess of 10 meters. This can be massive, as it allows the sparks to really threaten wounded teams from almost 70 meters away. Let's look how it changes when the target only has 100 HP remaining. It's a similar story here, with the Mosin succeeding at 82 meters while the sparks can do so at 92, and the Martini is again in the middle. If you hit in the lower torso, all 3 guns can take down a 100 HP target. However, the sparks stands out here as well, because it can do so at 63 meters, which is much further than the lower damage competition. At the end of the day, this damage does matter. It means you can kill wounded targets from further away, and your quick swapping will be more reliable at both range and at killing targets when you hit limbs, etc. But there is another consideration to take into account: muzzle velocity. The Mosin is certainly the fastest, with 615 meters per second. Now when you shoot a target at 200 meters, the Mosin bullet will take 0.32 seconds to reach it. For the sparks, the same shot at 200 meters will take 0.36 seconds. The Martini Henry has a slower velocity, and it'll take a full half a second to reach the target. The difference between the sparks and the Mosin is rather small. Now it's not like the Mosin Lebel difference that I've discussed in a previous comparison video. I consider that 15 meter per second difference between the Mosin and Lebel more or less negligible, but the difference here will require you to lead a target marginally more. If you've been watching this video and thinking, wow, the Martini is actually almost as good as the sparks in all of these graphs, well yeah, the damage does make it strong, but this velocity does make it less attractive in comparison. It is significantly slower, and you really do have to lead your shots at long range, and you can actively feel the difference. So overall, why is the Sparks so good? For what it puts out in terms of damage and kill reliability, you will find no weapon that offers as much performance for its price. It can be used at a variety of ranges, it has plenty of ammo, and it will compete with the sweatiest of loadouts in the game. Now I'm not here to claim that the Sparks is better than the Mosin, but it's certainly far more accessible and affordable, and it offers everything you need to take apart an entire server. This is the reason why it's the favorited weapon for a lot of people. If you like this video, please feel free to like and subscribe, or check out our community links in the description. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ascendance from 4FS Gaming.